Exactly 29 now, about 30-minute delay now. We're hoping that it's not going to be much longer now as the country waits with bated breath. But of course, the president continues to, I guess, do those last-minute sealing those last-minute deals and making sure that everyone is happy. Let's continue our conversation with Sipho Pityana from Business Unity South Africa. Mr. Pityana, obviously, you also wanted to have your say around the Pravin issue.
Yes, indeed. In fact, I wanted to make the point that business is very concerned about the standing and reputation of the public protector, because there have been several court findings that have cast doubt on her competency in terms of the reports that she's issued. When a public protector releases a report casting a shadow over one of the executives, the nation should sit up and be concerned. The fact that there's a big debate about whether she's right or not about what she said is a negative commentary on the office of the public protector, which the nation cannot afford. And because of that, Business Unity South Africa has written to the Speaker of Parliament to cause for a review of fitness to hold office by the public protector.
So she should go?
Well, our view is that you can't have a litany of court judgments that are quite scathing about the competency of the public protector. Now, remember that the issues that are being raised around Minister Gordhan are to do with administrative, or what are called administrative flaws. It's not about stealing money or thieving and all of that. All of that said, she has a right and a competence to comment on that and direct the president to take action, because after all, that's what she's there for. And it's important that we have an office like that. It is an office for the promotion of democracy, and we must protect it. As part of protecting it is to ensure that we have somebody who's not perceived to be partisan or playing politics, or credibility is. But
shouldn't be what is good for the goose be good for the gander as well? In the sense that we're talking about integrity here. We're talking about individuals who need to go into this executive, who will aspire confidence. Such doubt, in the eyes of some South Africans, have been cast on a Pravin Gordhan. So then, why then do we not have the same sentiments, I guess, that are being shared to say, okay, let's allow him then to state his case, to take this on review? Or are you also questioning the timing of this to ensure that he does not make it into this cabinet? Well,
I'm making a different point. I'm saying that the mere fact that we have the debate suggests that we have a problem with that office. And it's Pravin Gordhan today, it's going to be somebody else tomorrow. As a nation, when the public protector pronounces on anything, we should sit up and have a strong sense of discomfort and say, President, you must act. But no less a body than several court judgments are casting a very strong question about the suitability of the incumbent in that role. And that raises a serious credibility question. And I suspect that's what's exercising the president's mind. Can I use the public protector's report to take a view on the people that she is cast out on? This is different from what is coming out of the commissions of inquiry, the Zondo Commission, and all of those, in my view at least, because the credibility of those processes has not been questioned. There are serious allegations that are made. People are afforded an opportunity to openly express themselves in respect of that, and enable the country to take comfort or otherwise in respect of those. Those that have been named there with very serious allegations hanging over them, have not gone there, and in not going there to take us into confidence, have actually betrayed our trust in them. So I think that these are two different scenarios, and I'm not, all I'm saying is that we are concerned as business that the integrity and the standing of the office of the public protector must be protected.
All right. Let's bring you in there, Prof. Tifo in Pretoria. The credibility of the public protector's office been brought into question. A number of these rulings, of course. I mean, what then needs to happen in this instance? You have a situation where I guess the president over the past couple of hours or day or so would have needed to apply his mind regarding this issue surrounding Pravin Gordhan.
Well, I have no doubt that he will. I have no doubt he will be in his executive. And let's just understand this. It's not a complicated matter.
Yeah.
If the matter is taken on review, Pravin will be appointed. And if on review, they confirm the findings of the public protector, then it would only be fair and proper for Pravin to step down without being advised the president to do so. There is due process to be followed here. And people tend to conflate or to confuse, sometimes deliberately so. Once you appeal, right, or you lodge an appeal, the status quo subsists. And I wonder why in the instance of Pravin, people want to do things differently. That's one. Number two, you have people who have been found to have perjured themselves in the court of law. They are on the list. There is very little said about them. I know of a person in the Eastern Cape who was found guilty. He has appealed, but is still serving in the legislature. We don't talk about that. So this selective, right, premeditated selective campaigns that want to undermine people who are doing so well for the country. I'm sorry, I wouldn't want to be party. I am for justice, never mind who it is for or against. I am for truth, never mind who's telling it.
Mr. Pityana, then you have a situation where you have got the president caught in between a rock and a hard place. Because obviously you've had individuals, I mean the EFF for example has been very strong in calling for Pravin Gordhan not to form part of this executive. I guess all of that is politics.
Yep.
But then what would the president then be expected to do? Because he certainly can't appease everyone in this instance. Pravin Gordhan, obviously, if he takes this on review and a decision is found that he did not follow due process, then of course he could step down, as the Prof is indicating.
Well, I think that the president is a very careful person, and he navigates these processes giving due care. Precedent would show that the processes around the public protector are, as Professor Sipho has indicated, if parties are afforded an opportunity to pronounce themselves and the accused party has an opportunity to be heard, and once a finding is made, the president is obligated to follow through on the finding unless the matter is taken on review. The president, as things stand at the moment, doesn't have legally something that constitutes the basis for him to take action against Minister Gordhan. He may leave him out for other considerations, but he may not fairly and justly exclude him on the basis of a public protector's process that is under challenge, especially in light of the fact that there is a litany of precedents that shows that more often than not, when she's taken on review, she loses the case. She loses cases, and that's why we are concerned as business that this is such a critical armor in the fight against corruption in our society. We can't have somebody whose credibility and standing is in question.
All right. Well, if you've just joined us, we're continuing our discussion here ahead of the announcement of President Cyril Ramaphosa of his executive that was scheduled for 8 o'clock. There's been a delay, of course, if you haven't heard, and we do understand that President Ramaphosa is still consulting with some of the stakeholders. On the other side, we know that he met with the unions a bit earlier on today, and they've been in lockup ever since this afternoon. So really no leaks at this stage about what's expected to happen, but a lot of people have been saying, there's another song of Yuma Sekela's. He's, of course, carved all of this around Tumamina, but there's another one called Kauleza. So we are expecting the president to Kauleza. It's 2038 now, so we're expecting the president to, I take from the other song of Yuma Sekela in saying Kauleza as the country continues to wait. But let's continue our discussion here, of course, about all the expectations from South Africans, from business, from the political sphere, from unions as well. And of course, let's continue with Sipho Pityana from Business Unity South Africa, as well as a political analyst, the Sibatifo in Pretoria. So what then would be good for business? Let's talk about business. What will be good for business? What will inspire the kind of confidence that business needs to see to turn around the fortunes of where we are, also economically, here in South Africa?
Well, in the communications and exchanges that we've had with the president, we've highlighted a number of key areas that need careful attention and urgent attention. And by the way, we don't have much time. We have to hit the ground running. The leadership that's there can't prevaricate. It has to move with speed. The key area is going to be treasury. Who leads finance? There has to be certainty around the role, the person, the incumbent there, that is a long-term play. The caliber and standing of the person must be somebody whom the markets would relate to and would need no introduction to the markets, would be familiar with the treasury processes. There are some tough challenges there. Some of the things that need to happen are going to alienate some of the alliance partners of the ANC, and they're going to upset some of us in business. So we've been saying that we need to work together and not be pursued, driven by our own self-interest. We need to put the interests of the country first. So that means that the person in treasury has to be somebody who can help the president build a social compact between key players in society to be prepared to sacrifice. So the president needs that assistance from a person in treasury, and it's a tough, difficult negotiation process. And I think there's a depth of talent to do that, and if a person that
would Barbara Creasy, for example, be someone quite good within the finance portfolio? For example, she's been touted. Well, there's a lot of rumor around her going to national. Barbara Creasy, that is, of course, had been the MEC of Finance here in Gauteng.
Well, I wouldn't want to speculate on who might or might not be there, but my view is that there's depth of talent to put in that role. We don't have time to experiment. I can say that, because promises are one thing. The face of the person who's going to drive that treasury is everything. It will send the markets in all kinds of directions if we put somebody that there is no confidence in. The second thing that I would say is that economic ministry is going to be very, very critical. The problems around ease of doing business, things that we need to correct to do that, to get small and medium enterprises, which must be a key driver of the economy, are important. Black economic empowerment is an important element of driving inclusive growth. It is not an antithesis of growing the economy. It is about building social cohesion.
But has it not been a process that has also been abused?
It's been a process that has been corrupted, but it is also possible to pursue black economic empowerment without being corrupt. So it shouldn't be that we should look to abandon the pursuit of an inclusive growth, economic growth agenda, because it has been abused by certain people. We must deal with the corrupt. We must deal with corruption, but we must be single-mindedly focused in ensuring that this economy grows inclusively. That's why we hold a very strong view that here you had a Hlaudi Mutwaneng, who was a comedian running this place as a chief operations officer. You have any number of competent black communications professionals, media professionals who could have filled that role. And this person who had no qualification is supposed to be the face of black professionals in the media space who was incompetent.
So we can't
be condemned.
Hold that thought right there. I'm not cutting you because you're talking about the SABC, but we do understand, let's just bring our viewers up to speed, we do understand that the motorcade of the president is arriving within that precinct where at the union buildings he is expected to address the media as well as the nation as he announces his executive. We'll take you live there very shortly. I guess that will be the first indication that we're close to that moment of that we've been calling from President, so we're expecting that any moment.
Well,
please continue.
We're delayed because we have an empathetic president.
Okay.
This is a difficult process. There are people who may have been crying, and I'm sure he ran out of handkerchiefs, giving them to wipe their tears. So let's hope that he's going to deliver good news.
All right, you were continuing on the processes that were...
I'm saying that the point really I'm making is that skills revolution and education are going to be key and critical. You cannot empower a nation if you have black education in particular and skilling of black people into key areas of the economy, particularly in an era of fourth industrial revolution. It is not going to happen unless we're single-mindedly focused.
Then maybe let me get your view, Mr. Pityana. I mean, you had Panyaza Lesufi, who was doing quite well in that portfolio of education. We're talking about basic education. And if we look at the makeup of what's happened in Gauteng, he's now been moved to finance and someone else is going to take over education. One could argue perhaps he's done well within that particular portfolio. So why remove something or try and fix something that's not broken?
As you know, I'm a praying man. I had a tough conversation with God this morning because I was praying that Panyaza Lesufi will become a national minister of education because he's done so impressively there. I think that moving him to finance is a mistake. I think that we needed to have the achievements that he registered in this province spread to other areas and share that. Education needs a passionate champion of that project who inspires and instills confidence and who gives us a sense that we have somebody who knows what they are doing.
Okay, great. Prof. Tifo, some of the key priorities for this administration, this new cabinet that is coming in, what would need to be prioritized by those who are coming into these positions now?
Before I go to the priorities, Sipho earlier on mentioned education. And I want to say, in education lies the future of any country.
Yeah.
And we are not going to win, never mind how the platitudes we may use, if we don't put a high premium on the quality of education. Students go to class and learn, teachers teach, and those who are supposed to monitor, whatever the name you call them, inspectors also, they do their job. We have lost the plot and we are not going to win as a nation as long as the education system remains as it is. Yes, I'm one of those who feel like Panyaza Lesufi should not have been lost for education. If he was not retained, he should have at least taken somewhere. That institutional memory, that passion, that capability. I'm a primary school teacher by profession, and I sense he's one, and he has done well. And I'm passionate about this because all the winning nations of the world, they invest more in education, all else will follow. Priorities, I think, there is one section, 193 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa that speaks to the values and the principle that should imbue public servants. And then another modified version of it is about to principle. If the people to be elected were to be public spirited, they were about the other and not the self, I can assure you would go a long way. All we need is a change of a mindset, a paradigm shift, an appreciation that, yes, we can be different from the rest of Africa, where public office is seen as a vehicle for self-enrichment. Let them move in there and say, in the spirit of Ubuntu, Botu, we are going to serve our own. Whatever the rewards, yes, but I raise my hand, I want to serve, and I will serve. We can talk about technical skills, technology, fourth industrial revolution, but it's the human factor that counts most for me. Once you have it right, you are likely to win as a nation.
That human factor would certainly need to come into play as well, Mr. Pityana, where clearly it seems, well, what the general populace feels that spirit is lost.
Yes.
Many have lost heart for public service. And subsequently, we see some of the deterioration that we've seen in the country because seemingly that spirit is not there.
Well, in my entire working career, the best times of my years were in the public service. paid me very little. But, you know, you go in public service to make a difference in the lives of people.
That's right.
The fulfillment is not monetary. The fulfillment is in the impact you make in society. And I think that's what public servants should be. Anybody who goes to work for government should not be going there for a big perk. They must go there to make a difference in the lives of people. With that mindset, you wouldn't be obsessed about tenders and doing deals on the sides and trying to do bribery and all of those things. So we need a change of mindset in the public service. But I do want to say this, that some of the key priorities include areas of communication, technology. ICT enables us to leapfrog other countries that have grown through. And in Africa, we are best placed to actually drive that single-mindedly. We need to focus on energy. This economy is hamstrung from growing because our energy generation capacity is limited. This obsession about whether ESCOM works or not is a misplaced consideration. ESCOM is big in our lives, but we must seek to find solutions that are about energy security. Alternative energy, renewable energy, reliance on coal is not good for the region. It affects the climate environment negatively. So with our commitments to climate change, coal-driven energy projects are a problem. So we need to ensure that we have the right answers around energy. America is where it is because it understands that very well. You must have security of energy. South Africa doesn't have security of energy. Whatever growth prospects we have are unlikely to see the light of day if we don't have reliable energy supply.
ESCOM would obviously be one of those areas where, in the makeup of this cabinet, it's one of the key areas that need a complete turnaround. We've seen what's come out of the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture, the kind of rot at institutions such as ESCOM. So, I'm interested to know then, obviously the president can't look at every single one institution and think I need to put somebody in that position that's going to turn that around. But surely these decisions have to deal with some of these key institutions and how they're going to be turned around. Certainly the best woman or man for the job needs to be put forward.
Sure. We have to turn ESCOM around. We have to make it work. It's a fantastic asset for the nation. We make it competitive. It must produce energy at affordable levels, etc., etc. Now, if you've gone through what we've gone through as a country, of load shedding, incompetence in ESCOM, it says one thing: we put our eggs in one basket. When that basket falls, all eggs are gone. So we can't proceed on that basis going forward. We must have diversity of energy generation, transmission, and distribution.
All right.
There's no reason why we should condemn the nation to a monopoly that is vulnerable to dysfunctionalities that undermine the entirety of the economy. So we need to revisit our strategy as a nation in respect of that.
All right, Mr. Pityana, unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there for now. We'll come back to you very shortly, but we have to say goodbye to our viewers on SABC2. Thank you very much for joining us. Do stay with us on Channel 404. We'll wait for that announcement from the president. 20:52 now, close to an hour. And now we're still waiting for the president. We heard a few moments ago that his motorcade was in that particular precinct. But thank you for joining us to our viewers on SABC2.
Yes.
Well, we continue with our discussion, of course, Prof. Looking at some of these key institutions as well, obviously, the president would need to take into account, there's SAA and a number of these that are a bit, all right, the president has arrived. Let's go quickly now to the union buildings. President Cyril Ramaphosa will announce his new executive in the next few moments. Has just arrived there. He's about to address the nation. You see the throngs of media, of course, all in front of him there waiting for him to announce his executive. Let's